Section 8 clients. Do you get like a list of people?
My name is Aline, and I just recently.
Okay.
Okay. So think about your workflow. Again,
I don't know how to do it.
I know how to do it, and I'm trying to instruct other people to do better in their business, but I also have to do better in my business.
Hey everyone out there in YouTube land and Facebook group, how you all doing today? I hope everyone's doing great. I can't wait to have this next guest on with us today. His name is Kevin Brooks. Not only is he another wholesaler, he's an investor in the Metro Detroit area. He's also a good friend of mine. I always meet him at these meetups that we're at. Sorry for the setup today. I have my headset on. I know I usually don't have that, but I am traveling for my day job. Yes, I still have a day job. Uh, and so I'm in a hotel right now. But with that being said, like this gentleman, Kevin, is an awesome guy. He's helping as many people out there. I see him all the time in these groups. And, I wanted to bring him on here because he's such a busy guy. I want to know exactly why he's doing everything he's doing. And you know what? I also want to introduce everyone here to him so that if he needs anything, he can come to y'all. If you guys need anything, you can come to him as well. So without further ado, let me bring on Kevin. Kevin, how you doing today?
Good evening, Randy. I'm excellent. Thank you for having me, man. I want to give you a big shout out, just for having me on the show and just being just an exceptional guy that you are, brother, and just for allowing me to share my journey on your platform, bro. I really appreciate you and all of the wisdom and knowledge that you give here on Real Estate Talk. With the speakers that you have, just bringing that knowledge to the marketplace is just awesome, and it's just truly inspiring, bro. So thank you.
Awesome. I really do appreciate that. So I, you know, I admire you because I see you posting all the time about your meetups and you wanting to help as many people as you can. You go live sometimes about, on these calls and things like that. So I really admire that. I wish I could do more of that, to be honest, but as you can see, I got a day job and I'm busy as hell. So,
For sure, brother.
so,
Thank you.
so you're out here helping as many people out and helping everyone out. And so one thing I want to ask you, and I don't think I really ever got to ask you this is, what's your background and how did you get started in real estate? Because I know I always say this, but I know you didn't just pop out your mom's womb and say, "I'm doing real estate."
No, bro. That's a really good question, man. I had no idea that I would be doing real estate.
All
And
right. Real
so
quick,
look, go
real
ahead.
quick. Sorry to interrupt you. I look at your camera when you're talking over there.
Oh man, so I got like three screens,
Gotcha.
and
Yep.
the camera is looking at me on one, but
Yep.
I have you on this one. So this
That's
is,
okay. Look at the
man,
camera.
I got
We're good with that. You don't need to look at this ugly mug.
you. For sure, bro. For sure, for sure. Okay, what
Awesome.
was the question again? I'm sorry about that.
So how did you get started in real estate, and how did you get because I know you didn't come out of the womb just knowing about real estate. So what's your backstory? How did you get to where you're at, and then who we'll just start off with that. We'll kind of build on that. All right.
Yeah, for sure. So I discovered real estate investing or wholesaling back in 2018, actually 2018. I was living in Houston, Texas,
Okay.
and I was dating this young lady, and her cousin was actually a wholesaler, and she told me about it, and I just did a little bit of research, and long story short, ended up meeting him. He gave me some advice on some YouTube videos to check out, so
Okay.
I did, and it was just up from there. So
Oh, that's
um,
awesome. So, so with that being said, how how did you so you follow some YouTube videos on you because your girlfriend's cousin, you said?
yeah, at the
Um,
time, so at the time, yeah, it was her cousin. It was actually Zeke. I don't know if you know Zeke, but
okay.
I think he goes by Detroit Real Estate Man.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know him.
Yeah, so I met him for the first time back in 2018. I had no idea what wholesaling was. I knew nothing about real estate at all.
Mm,
Um, at honestly, at the time, I just knew that I was tired of working my job and I wanted to make more money. So that's really what introduced me into it.
okay.
So yeah, yeah,
Okay, that's awesome. Just like we all do, we all want to make more money no matter what, right? So,
sure.
I'm always here trying to figure out what's everyone's why, So, it always starts off with money. So
Right.
everyone's why is always money. I need more money, 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 money. But eventually you get that, and then you try to figure out what are the true reasons why. So after you figured out, the portion, did you figure? So what is your true why?
Man, that's a good point that you bring up, bro. And it does work exactly like that. At first it's money and you really don't know and then you just discover it. So for me, I'll go back a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned about wholesaling in 2018 and it was a really crucial point in my life. Prior to moving to Houston, I moved to Houston in 2015
Okay.
and I went out there for like more opportunity. Like it wasn't a lot of jobs that were like, you know, paying, how do you say, like the cost of living
Yep.
was more than what I was making. So I was just
Right.
looking for more opportunity out in Houston, and then I found a good job, but it was just working me like to death. Like I was literally
Mm-hmm.
working like 80 hours a week. But anyway, so I stumbled on wholesaling. Took me a year to get my first deal. And by the way, when I learned about it in 2018, I didn't really get started to 2020. I was
Okay.
just information, analysis paralysis or whatever you call
Yep.
it. But to answer your question, my why, like since I've been doing it for a few years now, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
starting to like post more of what I'm actually doing, a lot of people are getting inspired by it, and I'm noticing like my audience is really like young adults, and
Mm-hmm.
it just feels good to be able to pour into them. So that's really my why, especially people that come from like adversity and like
Yep.
just a rough background in general. Like when they come and they want to learn about this and they get into it and they see like, oh my God, like you know it's a lot of personal development that comes with it, and
Yep.
that's what really helped me because when I was struggling in the beginning, um, it was really hard for me because I'm a slow learner. Back in school, I barely paid attention to education. I was just out here doing what the environment around me was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of bad influences. So for me to learn about wholesaling and real estate and to be on this personal development journey, that is really my why because I enjoy the personal development aspect of it.
Yeah.
And of course, the real estate and the money is sexy to everybody, so it attracts like that younger crowd, especially when they see me doing it. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people know what I come from. So if they see that change, they like, wow, Kevin is doing this. It inspires them to do it too. So when they actually come and participate and learn, that is my why. So now I can use like what we're doing opposed to things that people shouldn't be doing. So it
Right.
keeps them out the streets and it just shows them like, man, I can make legit money and have a legit business versus, risking my life and my time and freedom just for money. So that's
Most
that's what my why is to answer your
And that is a very humble why, and I gotta say that is awesome that you're doing that, because the thing is that uh you know, people, they want to see people like themselves doing well. If they say, he's just like me, he did it, I can do it.
Exactly.
Whether it be somebody who looks like them, somebody who acts like them, somebody who used to be in their situation is now not in their situation, whatever the case may be. Okay. So I always say, no matter what, like I get inspired by, by helping other people. Now, for me, I have the same why you do. You know, I want to teach people. I want to help people, as many as I can. Sometimes I want to do that. It detriment. Like I put too much effort into that, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got my business. I got to run over here, and it takes away
Sure.
from that.
For
So,
sure.
so it's like, okay, I got to put this off to the side. I got to start. I got to start making money. you know,
100%. 100%, bro.
you know. So with all that, it does put something on here. By the way, if you do have any questions, do ask them in the chat. I see some questions in there, and as we get going, I'm going to put them on the screen, and we're going to put them on here. So, Jay actually asked one thing that I kind of wanted to say is, how many deals have you done so far?
Oh, that's a great question, Jay. So I did about 50 deals, and counting at like the end of last year, or like,
Okay.
no, it was like fall of last year, and then after that I stopped counting. So I really don't know.
Okay.
Somewhere between 50 and 100, but that's
There,
been
there.
over like 4 years though, you know.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm in my fourth year. I started January of 2021. So I haven't done full fourth year, but I'm in my fourth year right now. And I stopped counting after 35 deals. So, you know,
Awesome, bro. Yeah,
you
I
know,
actually closed my first deal um August 2020. That was
right.
my very first deal, and I did 4 deals that year. So between August and December of 2020, I did 4 deals. So
Okay. So he also has another question, and then we'll kind of get further over. Can you tell us how you level with a delusional seller? I'm assuming you mean deal with a delusional seller. So, um, can you tell us a little bit about that?
yeah, that's a great question. So my personality, if you know me, like I'm very bold, and I really like to give advice as well.
Okay.
So I look at myself as more of a consultant when I'm talking to sellers. Like that's my attitude. So I just keep it real with them. I just tell them the truth about everything. I let them,
Yep.
they give me their motivation and things like that. So I try to focus on that and try to really see if what I have to offer is really solving that.
Yep.
But if they're just if when you say delusional, if you mean like they're just stuck on a price or something that's not realistic, I just give them all their options. I just I get really creative too. I know creative finance, so
Hmm.
I just give them a lot of options, and if none of them work, you know, we could just agree to disagree, and
Yep.
I just put them on a follow up, get to the next seller.
Most definitely. And I always tell people we're deal finders, not deal creators. Okay.
100%.
I'm not here to convince somebody to sell me their house. I'm here
Absolutely not.
I'm here to present them with the options, and because a seller doesn't always know what their options are. They don't know what creative financing is. They don't know what all of this is. So, it's our job to let them know, and sometimes their best option is with a realtor.
Hmm.
And you know what? By me being honest, even though I'm not a realtor, you know what? I got some friends who are. I'll send some trusted realtors your way, you know, and go from there. So,
100%. Great question.
um, yeah. So, kind of get back to this. So, kind of tell me a little bit about what you're doing now. and what are you putting together now? Because I see every other week you're putting together some really like talented people. You're getting together and you're actually helping people on the phones. So
Yes.
tell me a little bit about that and how you started that.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I appreciate it. We just so I'm on a team. I joined the team. Name of the team is Q Estate, and we are primarily we built a big marketing engine. It's like a wholesale business, but
Hmm.
like the engine is, but the goal is to buy as many deals as we can. So we are actively looking to buy more deals, and we just like to network with like-minded individuals where we can just provide an environment for us to work and learn and just add value to each other.
Hmm.
And that's pretty much what it is.
Okay.
And then like that's what it is as a whole, like as the team. But I naturally was meeting up with people like at Southfield Library or coffee shops like over these years and just
Hmm.
meeting up and making phone calls and just pouring into people what I know from my experience. So I was always doing that. But now that I'm on a team and we have an office or an environment, anyone is welcome to come on the weekend if they want to learn about this business or if they want to learn how to talk to sellers or if you have deals that you want to sell. So
Most
that is
definitely. Yeah, that's the good thing is you know, I had a going through this when I first got started. There was a good mentor of mine actually that you probably know him, Todd Chun.
oh yeah.
Um, and he did this. It's called a boiler room, and essentially it's the same thing that you're doing. You know, and it really helped because when I was on the phone, like I was just doing my follow ups when I was over there and I would go through there and then if I had any issues or couldn't figure out anything like he was there or somebody else would be there like it was a bunch of other wholesalers and other people that were like-minded that what, hey, if I wanted to JV I just give them a call like, hey, can you come over here, or hey, here's this guy's number, can you give him a call real quick and help me close this deal, and we'll JV on it real quick and kind of go from there. So does it is that kind of what you're doing?
Yeah, that's great you bring that up. Shout out to Todd. He helped me out in the beginning of my journey a
Yeah.
lot, like tremendously. And I actually met you initially at his boiler room for the first time in person. We met there in White Lake. That's the
Yeah.
first day that we met, actually. But yeah, that's what we're doing. It's That's exactly what we're doing because that's what he was doing. He was teaching me everything.
Yep.
He was there. It's always good to have like, somebody who you look as a professional, someone with a lot of experience and been in a lot of different, various situations. So
Yeah.
that is good. That is exactly what we're doing. And
Hmm.
I am focused on really just reaching out to people who, because like I mentioned, like
Hmm.
I have no idea how I came up across real estate. Actually, I do. I know it was God. So, I just want, the God in me to just come out and you know, just invite people to come join with come hang with us. You know what I'm saying? I don't want people to be intimidated because it's a lot
Yeah.
to learn here and it's really, really simple.
Yeah.
And you can find your passion and your gifts through the same thing. So that's exactly right.
Lem said Todd is a great guy. I 100% agree with that, Lem. So
For
100%.
sure.
So, um, and I'm glad that you're doing that. I'm glad that you said that because it's, we're out here. One thing that I've realized is that the people who are backstabbing and will go out there and they will they're not willing to help anybody else out. They're not willing to work together, not willing to do anything. They don't last long in this industry. They
That's
really
absolutely
don't.
right.
And you know what? You can go out there and do all of that, but you're not gonna make friends. You're not gonna The reason why I've lasted as long as I have, and I'm assuming you lasted as long as you have, is by relying on these people, by Todd and other people that have been in this industry that are willing to help each other out, you know, not willing to backstab anybody. Somebody brings me a deal, whether they got it under contract or not, I'm not going to go around them and get it under contract or anything like that, you know. Or if I do get it under contract, no matter what, they're going to be part of the deal.
100%. Yeah, that's a good point you bring up, man. Because going back to Todd, like Todd came when I didn't close a deal.
Hmm.
This man, he was speaking at a an event in Southfield with it was Eric Friday was a panelist, and it was also Jeff. I cannot remember Home. You know Jeff Home?
Yeah.
I think that's his name. They were speaking, and I went to Todd after the meetup. I mean, after they were speaking, and I told him like, bro, I got a deal, and I don't know what to do with it, man. This man came to my house and sat on my couch, and I felt like a celebrity was at my house. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
He came to my house and was like working through the deal with me, man. And then I did like 15 JVs with Todd after that, like in a row, like not even caring, like let's split the money. I trusted him 100%
Hmm.
to deliver, so that's a good point. It's good to have people like that that won't go behind your back and that can just hold your hand. And
Yep.
that is the reason why you last, besides the fact that you don't give up, because the difference between me and the people who didn't last, like I just didn't give up,
Right.
so
Exactly. You got to go, you got to, they're doing this business is relentless, and you got to keep going no matter what. No matter how many no's you get, you got to keep going. Okay. Um, it's crazy. And there's a lot of, interesting things, and there's a lot of things you're going to learn something new from every single deal. Okay. I still to this day will call up Todd and be like, "Hey, have you ever had this issue?" You know, and ask for advice or do whatever. Or somebody else has an issue, and like for instance, he's the freaking king at stopping foreclosures. You know, so if I ever get a seller that I need a foreclosure stop, guess who I'm calling? I'm calling Todd, and he's going to be working the deal with me. You know,
100%.
so it's all about who you know, what's going on, you know. So by all means, um, you know what they say is that your network is your net worth.
100%. And another way to say that is collaboration over competition. You know,
100%. I
so
100% agree with that. So, um, with that, kind of where do you see what you're doing? Like, how do you see the future going uh, with with what you're doing with this collaboration? Like, what's the end goal with what you're doing right now?
that is a great question. I'm actually working on a personal development
Okay.
mentorship, like a nonprofit type thing.
Okay.
So I'm working heavily on that and speaking. Like I want to speak in like these schools, these public schools, like
Hmm.
nationwide, and just
Hmm.
pour into the youth and just be an example of what's possible. Just putting it's really hard to say, but a lot of it has nothing to do with real estate. Of course
Right.
I'm gonna keep buying properties and building a portfolio to build generational wealth because that's one thing I want to speak about as well. But I gotta actively work it to be able to go into that that niche and talk about that. So I'm all about speaking on what I have authority on.
Hmm.
So like to answer your question, that's the long term goal. Just to be like a personal development enthusiast and a speaker.
That's awesome. So, you know, with all that, like what I see, I see all the time. You're posting these boiler rooms that you have, these get-togethers every other week, and you're posting these like, "Hey, how to like." I just saw one the other day. "Hey, I showed you how to get sellers." well, here's how to get buyers too. You know, let's go through that. So like I love the content. I love everything that you're doing. Um, you know, what would be your advice for somebody who's just starting out and they just learned about wholesaling yesterday? What would be their first steps that you would say?
Man, that is a great question, man. It's a great question. It kind of depends, but I'm just gonna keep it simple.
Mhm.
I would just research somebody that's doing it. Like
Mhm.
get in, like for example, um, I bought into Pace Morby's mentorship, but before I did that, I watched a lot of free videos on who he was, and I read the comments, and I asked some people. I didn't just pick the first person who was saying they were doing real estate. I did some research on this man,
Mhm.
and then I bought into his mentorship. It's like a shortcut. Get with somebody who's doing it and don't reinvent the wheel. So I would just do that, and I would implement to a T everything you learn. Don't just be in information mode. Like learn something, like download it, meaning watch the same video 5 times and then start taking action on that before
Yep.
you watch another video or learn something else. Because it's all about the action. Because when I first started, one of the reasons it took me so long to close a deal is because I was focused on the information. And then when I started taking action, like for example, driving for dollars, I was adding a lot of properties, but I wasn't making any phone calls. And adding the properties is not money making activity. Picking up the phone is money making activity. So, and I've also learned that, being on those calls is actually the best teacher. Is like actually just making a call, not knowing a lot, just having a conversation, knowing that you
Yeah.
see they're interested in selling, and just going from there. That will teach you more than any sales training could ever offer you. So yeah, my advice would be get a somebody you trust that's doing it, learn from them, and do exactly what they say to a T. And I believe it will work.
Right. I would 100% agree with you on that. Um, Everyone learns differently. So I will add that. Know how you learn because if you learn where you read a book and you listen to everybody and you do this and you do this and you can't do anything until you know everything, right? First off, if that's the way you learn, this is probably not the thing for you. Okay. But uh, how I learn is I learn by doing.
Mm,
So I can listen to something all day long. I can read something all day long. More than likely, I'm probably going to forget it if it was a week later, you know, unless I actually do it. What I listen to, have to put it in practice. Once I put it in practice, then it sticks with me.
100%.
Okay. So I would, when I first started, I would listen to something, and then I would act on it. Like I would try to find certain lists. Like as soon as they would tell me, oh, this is the good list to go. I go out and I try to do those lists, and then I try to call them, and I'd see what results I would get, and go from there.
That's the
You
best
know,
way.
that is the best way to do things. So, um, Randy, not me, Randy, but actually he's a friend of mine, but he has a question: is if I was someone on the fence going into wholesaling, but worried about the financial elements and lack of knowledge, what would you say to convince me it's a great option?
So when you say it's a great option, you mean like wholesaling?
Yes, wholesaling.
Um, well, first of all, I would say like define your budget.
Hmm.
Because some things, like, I think a lot of different marketing works.
Hmm.
But like for example, calling for sale by owners that works, but it's cheap, it's free.
Yep.
But again, Deal Machine works as well, and that's an app that I use for driving for dollars. It's $100 a month.
Yep.
All of the calling that you do is free. So to answer your question, define your budget. if you can afford like $100 a month, get Deal Machine, start adding distressed properties, and come to our Saturday meetups, and I'll convince you there.
That's awesome. And another thing I would add to that is no, you got to understand this. If you have a small budget, you got to have a lot of time.
Mm,
If you have a large budget, you'll have less time, but you got to still have a lot of knowledge in order to implement that budget pretty well. Otherwise, you're still going to be utilizing the same amount of time. I know it's kind of confusing and counteractive, but understand that even at a small budget, you can do some wholesale for free. I don't ever recommend it. I always tell people I'm not one to tell you that wholesaling you can do for free every day. No, there's going to be some costs, some marketing costs out there, but it's going to be a lot cheaper than a normal business. That's all.
100%.
You
100%.
know, I'm not going to be spending $100,000 in order to start my business. You know, so I can get it with a lot cheaper, but I'm still going to I have to put in the time and effort into doing it.
100%.
So yeah.
Yeah, it can definitely get pricey. Like I spent $12,000 before I closed my first deal. And that was simply because I was, getting multiple systems,
Mhm.
investing in different education when I should have just did the first thing that I learned. I would have spent way less, and I would have got over that fear of talking to people over the phone way sooner. So I would just
Right.
say, figure out how you're going to market, like how you're going to get your deals, and then just do it a lot.
Right. Yep.
So
100%. Like I took me 4 months to get my first deal. Within a 4-month time, I was at about $1,200 of marketing budget. My first deal paid for the entire budget.
that's awesome.
I made $1,300 on my first deal.
That's
And that
awesome,
was
bro.
with a JV. And then the next month I got another deal. And then the next month I got another deal. It snowballs. Once you get your first one, now you know what works, and it's easier to get the next one, the next one, and the next one. You know?
100%.
So um what would you recommend to people out there who say I wholesalers have to get their license? They need to get their license. They should get their license because we're going to go into where it's going to be regulated and it's all this and that and things like that. So where do you fall on the line of licensing for wholesaling, and where do you fall on the line where the rumors of people say that wholesalers uh, steal equity away from homeowners? So that it's kind of like two questions there. You
Okay.
know,
Now those are great questions, man. I didn't see those. I didn't see that the second one coming. But so as far as the licensing thing, I want my license. I'm actually just I'm going to get my license.
okay.
But I think if you a one man show, just focus on closing deals.
Yep.
And when the time comes, get your license. Like if you made X amount of dollars, you got the proof of concept. Okay,
Hmm.
now get your license because you might be worried about regulation later, and you might not, because what I think is when they change the laws, a lot of wholesalers are going to have to do a lot of JVing with people that have their license.
Yeah.
So my partner is licensed, so technically our business is licensed. So I don't really feel like I need to, but I kind of
Right.
want to get my license just to be a professional. I just look at it as being a professional. I want to be a licensed um, real estate professional, and
Hmm.
then I want authority to be able to give advice to a lot of licensed agents as well, because I think, that I be having suggestions for them, but I don't
Yeah.
have the license. So I feel like I don't have the authority to give, my advice when it's not asked for.
Right.
But So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I think either way is fine, but don't let it distract you from closing deals.
Yep.
Um, and the second question, it's kind of like what I mentioned earlier about just giving the seller all their options. Just take your investor hat off and put your consultant hat on, and
Hmm.
just and tell them, because I literally tell them like, um, you know, if they want a high price, the first question I'll ask them is, why haven't you listed the property? With an agent. Like that's the way you're going to
Yeah.
get the most money. I tell them that,
Yep.
and I tell them that we're going to have to buy the property at a discount for because of X, Y, and Z. Like I'm
Hmm.
not here to convince you of anything. I'm just here to let you know what your options look like if you decide to work with me.
Right.
So I don't think it's stealing anything because we're telling them everything. So
Right.
that's how I feel about it.
And as long as you're upfront about everything, I think that right there alone is gonna show a lot, you know. So it's gonna show your integrity, it's gonna show who you are, things like that. I'm still not licensed myself. I do this, and the only thing that keeps me, the thing is that if you're licensed and you recommend a agent, you can get a referral fee. Okay. If you're not licensed, you can't really get a referral fee. Now they can say a marketing fee, but it's probably going to be less than whatever the referral fee would be, you know. So keep that in mind. If I'm cold calling and I'm cold calling as a wholesaler, and then I recommend an agent to them, if that agent closes the deal, I can get a referral fee if I'm an agent, you
Got it.
know. I also see issues with being a wholesaler and an agent as well, because if your broker does not agree with wholesaling, then you can get in trouble with your broker with wholesaling. So you picking your broker when you're an agent, I think, is the most important thing.
100%. Even when bro, I picked my broker as a wholesaler because like
Yeah.
I work in the office with a great team, a great
Yep.
broker, even though I'm not licensed. Like my whole goal, like I figured this out over a year ago. I just want to be in an environment with a knowledgeable person, like with a person who's able to like mentor me. Like he don't know he's mentoring me, but he is. Like I wanted to
Yep.
just be in the office with a broker that knows what they're doing, that understands the investment side as well as the traditional side as well. So, it's a lot of education from that. Like just riding in the car with them, going to look at houses that we're looking to buy. I learn a lot just from the conversations. I get a lot of great book recommendations and I read them and I learn. And I just love the personal development of this business, bro. Honestly.
100%. So Jackson Stedwell he's actually my cousin. I said, great advice, you guys. Been extremely interested in this and comforting to know that you both find success in this area. So, by all
Appreciate that.
means, appreciate that. And it's definitely something you got to work towards. Everybody thinks that this is a get rich quick scheme. It is not. If you think that, go someplace else. I don't advertise that. I don't want anybody to advertise that. And if somebody is advertising that, all they're trying to do is sell you a course.
For sure. This is
Like,
a go broke quick scheme, bro. Like if
yep.
you don't come in here with the right mindset and the right attitude and
You know how many times I've gone broke, man. Like the market has changed in these 4 years, man. I'm telling you, it's like I've had to adapt, and then I got my personal stuff going on, so I've had to deal with that, and it's like you got to adjust, you got to move with the market, you got to move everywhere. So, um, it's that's just kind of how it is. But you also, by doing this and going through these, you come up with these creative ideas to get back into it. You know, I'll give you an example. Right now, like I didn't have too much marketing money. So what did I do? I partnered up with somebody and I said, hey, I got the knowledge. You're looking to get into it. All right, you pay for the marketing. whatever we get, I'll do all the training, I'll hire a VA, I'll do blah blah blah, I'll pick the list, I'll do all of that. Anything we get from those campaigns, we split 50-50. You get first right to refusal if you want to buy a property, blah blah blah, all of that. And you get to learn the whole process while we're doing it, you
Exactly.
know. So that was my way of being creative because I didn't have the money right now, you know. And I'm like, okay, I gotta figure out a way. So there's always where there's a will, there's a
There's a
way, no
way.
matter what. So, um, you know, it's you know, honestly, wholesaling I think is a great way to go. But one thing I need to make sure that I don't want to say convince, I let people know that, and I know you know this too, that wholesaling is not the end of the world. It
Yeah.
is the beginning. It is the start to something.
Mhm.
So that brings me to my next question for you. What is wholesaling starting for you? And it is a stepping stone to what?
Great question. So it's a stepping stone to buy properties, right? For like from this business, you like you're learning how to make an offer that makes sense for an investment to a seller. You're learning how to understand what people go through. It is
Hmm.
very humbling. Like when you talk to some of these sellers and you hear what they're going through, it's like it's crazy sometimes, but
Yep.
it's humbling and it just makes you just be more of a grateful person. Just show a lot of gratitude and just be wanting to help as much as you can when you realize that life is not about you. You
Hmm.
know. So to answer your question though, it's a stepping stone for me, personal development,
Hmm.
learning, buying properties because once you learn how to get a good deal and analyze deals, you learn from the buyers as well, which is why I try to build relationships with my buyers because I want to know what is making this a good deal for them because everybody's different. Like
Right.
I've got offers 10,000 over what another person that offered, or like I had one investor who offered like 10,000 over what 10 other investors offered, and I wanted to know why. So but to answer your question, it's a stepping stone to buying properties. You want to wholesale stack money so you can start parking your money by buying these properties.
Hmm.
You buy a property, you have like I bought a property in March, and I got it for a good deal. I probably had like 60,000, just sitting there, and it's growing because it's a rental property. So when you think
Hmm.
about it, I thought about this last night actually, like to explain to somebody that knows nothing about this, like I would tell them like when you buy a property, you still have your equity, you still have your money. It's not just
Hmm.
sitting there, it's producing, it's making you more money. And if you need to liquidate, at a future date, you can always do that. So I like to wholesale to stack money up to buy rental properties, and I just love the whole, like I mentioned, personal development that comes with it. So
That is awesome. I 100% agree with that. I will eventually own my own rental properties. Um, you know, there's a few reasons why I haven't done it yet is because all my wholesaling money has gone into my personal house and my personal renovation house. So I've done renovations on my personal house, so it's all good.
yeah, I seen
Uh,
that mansion, man. I seen them
yeah.
big long hallways and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. But you know what? Doing that has made me a better wholesaler. So it's made me run the numbers better. And the reason why is because I had to get bids and I had to figure out, okay, is the time putting into me maybe learning it and doing it myself better, or is it hiring somebody else? I still got bids from contractors and I got the real cost on things. So that now when I'm wholesaling and the biggest problem that newbies have is trying to figure out the renovation cost of a property. Well, now that I've actually done that, I I have a good idea of what things cost, you know. So, that's it's only made me a better wholesaler because of that. So I got to put that there. But yeah, I will eventually own rentals because, like you said, when you park your money into a rental, you have that. But one thing that people don't understand is they always want to say their personal home is an asset.
Hmm.
And I want to ask you this before I answer, okay, before I say anything more. Do you think your personal home is an asset or a liability?
It depends on how much you pay for it.
What do you mean? Say that.
Like for example, if your home is costing you money, like if you can't afford your home, it's a liability. But if you can afford your home, then I believe it's an asset, even though it's a personal home, because an asset doesn't just mean, it's not just about finances. Like it can add value to your life.
Hmm.
It's your home. This is where your
Right.
family is. So a dollar might be something that generates money might be an asset to you, but if I can get peace with this, then that's an asset to me.
Right.
So, and if I can't afford the home, then it's stressing me out. So,
Yep.
I don't I think it's a liability if you can't afford it. So,
You know what? I can agree with that definition. Okay. I I think your personal home is a liability, and
okay.
I'll tell you why. The reason why I think your personal home is a liability is because you're always paying into it. It's never making you money. The only time it makes you money is when you sell it.
Mm.
Okay. So it's always going to be taking money away from you. Even if you pay it completely off, you always got to pay taxes on it.
I mean, that's a perspective. That's fair. But
Okay.
some people, they
So
own their home free and clear,
correct.
and they're doing like catering. So their stove is making them money. They're selling dinners.
And in that case, it's great. It is a um it is not a liability. It is a benefit by all means. But I think just a regular personal home is a liability
Got you.
because you're not making money off of it. Okay.
For sure.
Versus a rental is is not a liability. It is a you know it's generating you income. If it's not at least generating you income, you at least break even, so it at least holds its value or at least grows within inflation.
For sure.
Okay. So Steve H actually says, I'm going to do deals with you, Kevin.
What's up,
So
Steve? That's my cousin.
that's awesome.
What's up, bro?
So I always just
That's my uncle. Excuse me.
oh, that's your
That's my
uncle.
uncle.
That's awesome.
Ah, man,
So,
that's funny.
but going through that, like people have to understand, they got to have that understanding. Everyone thinks that, their home is an asset. It's not a liability or, so, and I think the the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, which everyone goes back, like that's what got me interested in real estate. Um, that comes back to, okay, yeah, my personal home is a liability. It's not an asset,
Hmm.
so I definitely it's all about the mindset and how can I get assets to pay for my personal home or my lifestyle. That's what I need to do, you know. And that should be your goal. That's my end goal, and that's the reason why I want to get rentals myself, is because I want assets to be able to pay for my lifestyle no matter what.
100%, bro.
But in the meantime, I'm going to teach as many people how to do this crap as much as possible. And that's why we're doing this podcast.
That's
So,
awesome,
and
bro.
tell as many of these stories as possible to kind of get going. So, what would you say to anyone looking to get started in real estate? I'm not saying they have to be wholesaling, but what's the thing that they need to do? What's the best way to get started in real estate? Not necessarily wholesaling, just in real estate in general.
Um, Great question. it's kind of really broad. I'm gonna just stick to what I said earlier.
Hmm.
Find a coach and do what they say to a T. Like
Yep.
do like overdo it because 99% of people are not doing that. So you're going to already be ahead of everyone. Like you're going to get a deal in your first month if you do it to a T versus someone like me who was halfway doing it for like 2 years and then finally got a deal. And, and then, what's crazy, bro?
Yep.
My first deal, I probably could have made like $20,000. My assignment fee was $2,000. I was happy with that. But if I was taking action from when I first learned, by the
Hmm.
time I came across that deal, if I would have came across it, I would have already knew how much money I could have got for it. But since I was taking a little bit of action at a time, I was learning slow, and
Hmm.
I was geeked to sell it, and I only made a little bit of money. So I would just say, whatever avenue you're going, um, pick it, get a coach, and do everything it's like as much as you can. Like Randy mentioned earlier, you either got time or you got money. If you got money, invest, learn how to leverage the
Yep.
money. If you get a virtual assistant, learn what that looks like having a virtual assistant before you get it, because you're gonna get it. Because me and my partner, we had like 5 virtual assistants at one time. We lost so much money because we wasn't spending the time training them properly. you
Right.
know wasn't spending the time training them properly and coaching them. I learned that you need to coach your virtual assistant every day. You can't expect them to do what you didn't teach them.
Hmm.
So if you're going to invest more money, really learn what you're investing it in and how it works, and commit to that before you even do it, so you don't waste your money.
That I preach that, brother, right there. I'm telling you, man. Uh, I I'm actually doing that now. So I have a virtual assistant right now that every new virtual assistant I do, I got to do a training out with them. And it's not just do a 1 week training and that's it. Like right now, I'm on a weekly schedule with them. So um, as I go, I'm listening to their calls. If I see something that I think I needs to be corrected right away, I'll text them and let them know, hey, let's change this real quick, and then we'll go from there. But in that week session, I'll have all these recordings that I think we can learn from, and we'll spend about a half hour to 45 minutes going over these calls, figuring out exactly what we need, what we can do differently, how we can change it, maybe have her repeat some stuff back to me so I know she understands, he or she. Right now I'm working with a girl virtual assistant, um, and understanding like exactly what needs to be done. By the way, if you've reached to right now in the whether you're in the playback or you're in the live, I've been recording those sessions. Right now I've only done a couple of them, but if you want me to post them in my Facebook group, let me know. Leave a comment and let me know, and to see if you want to see those reactions and see those how we're doing that. If we do, I'm just going to bleep the addresses from those calls, but I have no problem posting those. Let me know what you think. So, um, but that's what I've been doing, and I'm going to continue doing that every week
Yeah,
until things get perfect. They're never going to get
have to.
perfect, but and things will start slipping. Everyone has life. Life gets in the way, you know. Loved ones pass away, blah blah blah. It affects us differently, you know, but we just have to be on top of things and understanding. It's part of management. It's part of everything. So it'll eventually go from a weekly to a monthly training, you know. So because
Absolutely.
there's no point for a weekly if she's doing so well, it'll eventually just go for longer and be like, okay, let's just do a recap. How's everything going? Any concerns? If there's any immediate concerns, we bring it up, you know. Um, but yeah, yeah, 100% with that. I mean, and where are you getting your VAs from?
So right now I have one VA right now,
Okay.
and she's been with me for about 2 years. And I actually got her from another wholesaler, Michael Heater. I
Oh
think he
yeah,
had,
I know Michael Hader.
yeah, he had quite a few at a time, and I think she was only part time for him at the time.
Hmm.
And she was new, and he realized that he really needed to let one go,
Okay.
and I needed one. So he introduced me to her. She was new. She just was starting out in real estate. She had like I think AT&T experience, like call
Hmm.
center, and we just hit it off from there, bro. One thing I want to say about virtual assistants, I like to really build relationships with them because it's
Yep.
not so much about here's your job. Like I want to know them, and you wanna just build a relationship because you can trust them. You can see this person's character. They'll see your character, and they're gonna want to be a rock star for you because she is a rock
Right.
star. Like she can do anything. Like
Hmm.
she can do anything. And I learned a lot from her. It first started out with me teaching her, and now she's teaching me certain things, and I trust her. Like I don't even have to. Like she overproduces. Like when we had her and other virtual assistants, she was like really outworking everyone naturally because she just loved being with a team that that she can have longevity with. So
Right. That's awesome. So yeah, and that's one thing that I've learned is that everybody's like, well, if you teach them everything that you're gonna do, like, are you think they're just gonna take your systems and go do it themselves? I'm like, I swear to God, that's the stupidest thing you've ever heard. Okay, if you're worried about that, you're not a true business owner.
right.
Okay, that's like me hiring somebody here, and just giving them enough to do the work, but not giving them enough to know exactly what's going on.
That's like a lot of these jobs. That's what makes you want
Yep.
to leave. You know.
Yep. So I want to be able to um, empower people. I want to, I want them to be able to think for themselves, do for themselves, and understand that I want them to grow in this position. I want them to grow with us. I want so because if I help you grow, we both grow because you're doing it with me.
100%, bro.
You know, so um, we're coming up to the end here, but is there anything that the audience here can help you with moving forward in your business, whatever that may be?
Um.
And how do they contact you?
Okay, that's a great question. I would just say, if you have any interest in, just growing as a human, whether that's in real estate or whatever, like just reach out to me and come to the meetups. That's all
Hmm.
I ask for. Like I'm just looking to help people, help people
Yep.
figure out what they want to do. Like a lot of times when I start talking to somebody, like if I'm doing a consultation with
Yep.
somebody, it'll start out about wholesaling, and then it'll end up when they'll tell me like, "Man, you should be a life coach," or something
Yeah.
like that. So it doesn't have to be real estate related. Like if you just need somebody to talk to, like call me. My number is 313-949-8834. We do a real estate meetup every 2 Saturdays of the month, every first Saturday and every third Saturday. We used to do it every week,
Hmm.
but you know I go to another power hour as well, and I
Okay.
want to be able to network as much as possible, so I promote theirs as well as mine.
Hmm.
And theirs is more so with people who have experience calling and they're just making cold calls to get deals. Ours is more so for the same people as well as people who don't know what they're doing, because we literally teach you how to talk to sellers. We teach you
Hmm.
the questions you need to ask. We teach you how to get buyers. We have buyers. We are buyers. So it's
Yep.
just a place. It's just an environment to come and learn. Because I just believe that you just need three things to be successful, and that's just an environment, the right environment, cultivation,
Hmm.
and opportunity, and that's it. So
Most definitely.
that's
So
really it.
no, I 100% agree with that, and I think anybody who wants to learn or wants to be around like-minded people, like get a hold of Kevin, and I highly, highly do recommend him. Is an awesome guy, and just for everybody to have it, what's that number again?
313-949-8834, and I'm on Instagram heavy, more so than Facebook. So my Instagram is just the number one and then my name, Kevin Brooks. So add me on Instagram as well. Shoot
Okay,
me a DM. Shoot me a DM on Facebook or call me, text me.
that's great. Awesome. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna end this. I hold on behind the scenes, and then we'll talk after this, and we'll go from there. All right.
For sure, bro.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I really do appreciate you coming here and spending the time with us on today and having like this was really great for me with between me and Kevin. Like we're both great wholesalers. Well, he's a great wholesaler. I'm just a wholesaler. So um, I'm just here along for the ride and just trying to go from here. But I want to teach and as many people how to do this as possible and to do it the right way. So with that being said, I still have a full-time day job. As you can see, I'm in a hotel right now for my day job. But I like my day job. I probably won't be leaving my day job for quite a while. I have different motivation than other people. But with that being said, I still love real estate. I love wholesaling, and I love teaching other people. So, with get a hold of me. My number is right here at the bottom, 586-307-4765. If you ever want a JV, I have buyers as well. So get in touch. In the meantime, we're going to have another guest. I'm not sure who yet. We're going to have another guest in 2 weeks from today. So until then, let's all do deals together.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across